here. Okay, what we're going to record today, or what we're going to go over today, is we are going to show you how to select a plugin. So let's enlarge our screen here. So when you want to select a plugin, you would go to plugin right here. You have an option here. You can go here to install plugins, or you can add new. But let's start with installed plugins. So this will show the plugins that we have on our site right now. And then we also want to look at some new plugins when we're ready in just a moment here. So what we have here is we have a list of plugins that we have on the site at the moment. Okay, and we can add plugins. And remember, plugins are just a tool, or I want to call it application that gives you more functions on your website. There are different things that WordPress itself does not do, but it does provide plugins that will do some functions that maybe you don't have on WordPress, and we'll look at some of the different types of plugins. Now, to add a plugin, as I showed you earlier, you could have just clicked here, but we're going to go ahead and click here. We're going to start here and say add a new plugin. And the first thing it's going to do, it's going to bring a list of different types of plugins. It's going to show you a current list that you could, if you were looking at these, you could. And these are featured plugins. You could also look at most popular, and that'll show you a different group of plugins. As you can see, that changed a little bit. Some of the same ones are on here, but this just shows you what plugins are popular. Now, what I want to do, and we can look at recommended, you can look at recommended, you can look at favorites, and that would be really your own favorites. And then I don't have any on this particular site, but if I look at premium plugins, and we'll see what they bring up here, these are premium plugins, and these are actually offered through, I should say, either Bluehost or your hosting company. Okay, that's a nice one. Visitor statistics site, visitor statistics. So they have a lot of different plugins, and these are premium plugins. And what it means by premium is that all of these there's a cost to these plugins. Again, these are probably either created by your hosting company, or at least they're selling these via your hosting company. They have quite a few too. But we're not gonna spend a lot of time here. We can look at this later. Let's go to plugins. Go back to plugins where we were, and then we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna go ahead and go back to add new. And depending on what you're looking for, you want to look at a plugin and make sure a couple of things. You want to make sure that, one, it is it's being updated, and this one shows that it was last updated 2 weeks ago. If you find something that hasn't been updated for 4 or 5 years, then you really don't want to spend a whole lot of time on that particular plugin, because it could have problems. WordPress updates on a regular basis, themes update on a regular basis, so that can mean that if your plugin is not updated appropriately, then it could cause problems on your theme or WordPress. The other criteria I want to say that you want to use is how many active installs. Okay, like it shows here, active installs. If you can see that or not, but it shows active installs. Now it shows one plus, so it's over 1 million active installations. And then out of those installations, 792 people have rated this particular plugin. And you can see that it's getting a 4.5 star, which is pretty good. And so you want to make sure that your plugin has enough ratings, and it's not something where it's only got maybe 4 or 5 ratings, and it might be brand new and you just don't know what's going on. This way you have a good idea of what's going on with the plugin. The other thing is that you want to make sure it's compatible with the version of WordPress that you have installed. And this one shows that it's compatible. Now, if you wanted to get more details about the plugin, you can click here and it will show you, give you some information about the plugin. You can even go and read the reviews that people have made on this particular plugin. You can see who the author is, again, when it was updated, what it requires, how many installations, and we already talked about that. And they'll give you a description. They'll give you how to instructions on how to install, and usually they have a link to that. Change log. Change log really just says what have been the changes over the last few years or months as far as changes to this particular plugin. And then again, you can look at the reviews and you can kind of read those. But I encourage you to, before you install a plugin, make sure that you look at all this type of information so that you don't end up picking a plugin that does not do what you want it to do. Okay. So what we're going to do, I already have this plugin installed. I have this plugin installed. So we're going to install something a little bit different. Um, let's see. Let's find something that we want to install. I think what I wanted to install is a let's look at some of the recommended ones. I don't want to just install anything. I want to say, yeah, let's install Yoast. Yoast is a good plugin. It is a security plugin, not a security, but an SEO plugin. So we're going to go ahead and install that. What's cool about this plugin, and it's been around forever, and it has 1 million installations, and you can see it's got a 5 star, so it's doing pretty good. So we're going to go ahead and install this just so you can see how the installation process works. But what you want to do is just go ahead and then say install now, and then it will start installing. And once it's installed, now you want to activate, because the only thing it did at this moment was install the plugin and put it on your site. But you have to activate it, because you can have plugins that are activated and inactive, and I encourage you to, and we'll talk about this maybe in another video. But you don't want to have a lot of inactive plugins, because if you aren't using them, there's no sense in having them on your site. So you want to limit your number of plugins, because if they're not being updated, they could be causing problems and things like that. So you want to only have the plugins that you want on the site. So we're going to go ahead and activate this, and it should show up here on our side navigation panel in a moment here. So we're going to go ahead and activate that. And once it's activated, it'll either show up there or it'll show up somewhere where we may have to dig a little bit, but it should be activating. Okay, so it activated, and you can see the screen changed. Okay, and it took you to the plugin screen, and the actual plugin is right here actually, but it just took you to the screen, and it's also here. And so we can use this theme, or you can get premium support, and a lot of them will offer that. They'll have a free service, because all the ones we looked at are free, but they may have a premium service also that they will make available. So that's what I really wanted to do. I want to keep this video under 10 minutes. And so we saw how to install a plugin. It's pretty simple. How to determine whether it's a good plugin to apply to your site. and those are things that you want to be able to look at so you have a good understanding of what type of plugin you're planning on installing. Okay, I'll see you in the next video.